Are you ready to bounce, my brother?
Boom.
Okay then, let's go.
Bounce, 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 bounce. You know we bounce, 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 bounce. Then we turn up, we 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 bounce. Click, clack, and boom. The club get nuclear. Mushroom, the vibe get daddy. Get a broom, the bitches be turning up to my tunes. Cause I'm a spicy, tasty. Dipping my naan in your gravy. Spicy, tasty. Dipping my naan in your gravy.
Hello, and welcome to What the Hustle #002, episode number 2. Today, I have with me my friend Dharam, who I connected on Instagram about 6 months back, and since then, it's just been fantastic having here and then calls with him. Whenever we talk, it's always a talk that goes from A to Z and everything about, and it's just from the most philosophical talks to most practical things and everything in between. So I hope today we have something like that as well, and I hope there's a lot in store that Dharam has for us, and I'll just get it all out from him.
Thanks, Ish, for doing this. And I think, so like it's always I basically, because what I do on social media, it gives me an opportunity to connect with people like you.
Yeah.
Not because we don't have that kind of a reach, it's not possible to connect with so many like-minded people. But even if you do connect with a couple of them, it's really great to know somebody who's on a similar journey, right? To share thoughts, to share knowledge, and you don't know what somebody else has in store for you if they are doing something similar. So it's always good, and to know you, it's always because. To be very honest, you don't usually get people who you can share a good equation with, share a very you can resonate with, and right.
Absolutely.
So it's been good knowing you, and let's see how this goes. Let's see how we can provide value for everyone who's watching.
Definitely. So, firstly, I would like to tell all my viewers that I had done all my background research about Dharam yesterday and for the last 2 days. So, Dharam actually started with the blog 2 years back, and then he transformed to or just shifted to the online social media with the content thing, with the video version. So, where you started and why you started that, and what was that driving force behind all of that?
Correct. So, firstly, for anybody who's watching, I'm not somebody who's achieved a lot of things, right? I'm not somebody who's an expert yet, or who has 5, 10, 15 years of experience. I'm somebody who exactly like you are, and I just graduated with my BBA. I did my graduation, and my journey with what I do on social media actually started with the internet. I started blogging first. When I just got done with my 10th, I had this fascination with brands, with dressing up nicely, with clothing basically in general. And I saw this market evolving where there were a lot of fashion bloggers coming up, even in men, because usually men bloggers are really less even right now. But that's what I saw, that a lot of bloggers are coming up, and on Instagram, on other social media platforms, this market is really evolving. So why not, because I had this fascination, because I was so fascinated with brands and what kind of clothing suits who and all of that. I used to talk about this with all my friends, people around me. And I love to shop, to be very honest, and people used to ask me भाई तू कैसे इतना तेरे को shopping से इतना fascination क्यों है? And I was like, yeah, okay, ठीक है, पर है तो मजा आता है. So I thought, let's see if I can actually start blogging, because to be very honest, I was really scared. I was 17, 16, and I did not have any prior experience with how to write a blog, how do you launch your website, how to be on social media, how do you create content. And mainly all of this required a lot of investment. It required a lot of experience with collaborating with brands, and I was 16. I did not know shit about this. So I was really scared. I did not want to take the first step just like recklessly. But a friend actually advised me. He was like that, you can start doing this, because he was a photographer. He is into photography, not really an expert in that, but he was somebody who's good at that. Even he was learning. So I was like, yeah, cool. Let's have a shot at this.
Yeah.
So I started blogging. So whatever I had with me, I started going out, finding out locations and shooting, right? I took a lot of pictures of mine, and I saw that I'm photogenic. I have that personality, to be very honest, not with the risk of sounding overconfident or something, but I saw that I can utilize on that upside, that strength.
Yeah.
So he used to come, and we used to go 2-3 different places around around our locality and around Mumbai, and we used to shoot. And then what I started doing is, without having any experience, I started writing to other bloggers, women, men bloggers, and I wanted to ask them, how do you actually write, right? How do you actually write blogs? Because uh, it's with men blogging, it's really different. Men's fashion. And what I saw is that I took a lot of references from the people who were already in it. I saw that they wrote very small blog articles, and I was like, I don't have that much of a design kind of a technical knowledge about fashion, but let's try. Like I can take references, I can learn and then develop on my writing skills, and I can do that. So I bought a domain name for myself, and with some help from other bloggers, I don't remember a lot of people helping me, but there were a couple who just guided me a little. And then all in all, it was a trial and error thing. For me, I started with the domain name, I started with the blog, I started shooting was not a problem because I had a friend that I did not want to invest a lot, and he was okay with me not paying him. So that happened, and then I was like, okay, now I'm doing it for a couple of months. Now I'm writing blogs, I'm copying a little, I'm taking references, and I'm learning. But now what's the next step, right? So what do I do? So what I did was, on my very own, I started with Instagram, and I wrote a draft, a small short message, where saying who I am, what I'm interested in, what my blog is, what I'm trying to do with this blog, and who I'm trying to target. And with this message, I sent it out to all the 50, 60 brands, small scale brands, who I thought would give me an opportunity to collaborate with them, right? Because I definitely would not get money out of this at that point when I started just 6 months ago. But I knew that I need collaboration. I need their clothes. I need their stuff to wear and showcase on my blog. And that's how I will grow. But I definitely knew that I'm not going to get a collaboration with a brand like Zara or a brand like Jack and Jones. So what I did was, I wrote that message, and I spent 2 to 3 hours in a day on Instagram finding out brands who were just growing, right? There were a lot of brands. Bewakoof in 2016-15 was growing. The Soul Store, who's now a big brand, was growing. I used to write write to these brands, and after a few days, a few weeks, they would reply to me and say, they would ask me to follow up with the email. Then they would decide on the deliverables. So I did not know what all of this is. And they told me that you have to tell us specifically what your deliverables will be. One Snapchat story, one Facebook story, one Instagram post, one blog post, stuff like that. Then slowly and gradually, I started collaborating with more such brands. And all of what I did was collaborate with only small scale brands, because I definitely grew, but I could not grow to a level where I could monetize it and have collaborations with large brands. So that was my experience with blogging. But doing this I remember I did it for 2 years. I used to shoot on weekdays, come back, ask my friend to edit those pictures. He would send it to me. I would post them on Instagram. Spend time writing the captions, distributing the content. Then the main part was writing to blogs, to brands continuously. Then writing the blog, because I did not know, so I would take 4 or 5 hours to write one single blog, 2 paragraphs. And how do you put it out? How do you distribute it? I did not have any knowledge, so I took a lot of time, and there was a lot of time investment, and I was studying by then. So basically, I, after 2 years, realized that this is something good. And to be very honest, at that point, I did not have that work ethic. I did not have the thing that, oh, we need to have patience. We need to think it in the terms of long term. You can't make money out of it instantly and stuff like that. So, and another thing which I realized soon after those 2 years is that, bro, I can't do this for like every single day or every week for myself. And to be very honest, it's a lot of time investment for me. And most importantly, the thing is that I don't like it that much. The thing was that I loved dressing up. I loved the outcome of it. But when you talk about the back end, when you talk about the things which is required to do something which is like blogging, it's a lot of effort. You may see a picture on Instagram of a blogger and see him or her collaborating with a brand like Netflix and, roaming around the world. But to be very honest, it's no shortcut. It's no easy stuff to do, because you have to manage a lot of things, and it requires a lot of experience. The only thing is, patience is the game. And at that point, when I was 16, 17, I did not know all of that. I did not have anybody to tell me this. So whatever happened, it happened because I realized that it was fascination. It was a fascination for me, and I can't put in so much of my time doing that because I did not like it. So I stopped blogging in 2017, just when I started my BBA. That was first year. And soon after that, for a couple of years, I did not do anything. And like also one more thing which I would like to mention at this point is that um, when I started blogging, you can imagine when you're 16, right? And
Definitely.
the most amount of people, I mean, the best you can expect is your parents to believe in you, right? That's the biggest gift.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody has that privilege. I had that
True.
support, even because, like, to be very honest, they did not know what I'm trying to do, but they still were like, okay, if you see something in this, if you have the vision, you do it. I was lucky enough to have that, but I was not lucky enough to have friends around me who'd support me, right? They would mock me. They wouldn't understand what I'm doing.
I understand.
They wouldn't get what I'm trying to do, or why I'm putting so much of time and money into this. But I don't. The lesson I've learned after doing those for 2 years is that apart from the skills, I learned how people are, and more than that, it's about respect. So if I am doing something and Ish is a friend of mine and he doesn't see what I'm trying to do, he just he can't see why am I trying to make content. He doesn't see any result of this. And there are a lot of people around you who might not see what you are trying to do, and they won't be able to recognize the belief you have. But the thing I understood is that you cannot expect everybody to know what you're doing, right? Your path is just your own.
Definitely.
You in return, if somebody mocks you, if somebody laughs at you, if somebody doesn't know what you're doing and says shit about you, you in return don't give them hate. You give them compassion. You understand that what they are doing is because they don't have the understanding, because they are not in the path as you are. So it's okay, and you respect the fact that they are not understanding it. And whatever you want to give them back is never, it never is like, giving back is never a good thing to do in words. That's what I feel, to be very honest. Like I can stop today and get into a fight and argument with Ish, trying to make him understand that, bro, what are you saying? Why are you saying this? You're discouraging me. You're not supporting me. But to be very honest, I need to respect his opinion and his stand, because he doesn't see the world as I do. And I wouldn't show him anything, or I wouldn't tell him anything in words. Whatever you do is your result. So I always have, and it's very tough, right? It's very tough when you see two people mocking you for a couple of years and laughing at you and spreading the word that this guy is doing shit. It's really difficult to not take a revenge or not take a, what do you say, a backlash at it. But
definitely,
it's very sweet, it's very sweet to let it go. But you got to put the result on the pedestal. Words are always your, results are always yours. Even though this takes a lot of time, right? So I worked on myself. I knew that it's okay. I did not give them anything back. I did not get into a fight with anybody. I did not try to prove myself like otherwise. But what I did is I gave myself time. I was patient. I saw long term, and I knew that that sooner or later I'll have something which I can prove myself on, and actually give the fullest capacity which I have and unleash myself. And the results out of that, the person I become is an answer to everyone else. So that's something which I'm talking about this right now because I believe that a lot of people of our age will be watching this, and definitely, I'm definitely sure that everybody in some ways making an effort to do something of their own, and this thing always gets into the way, right? People's opinions, whether it's your friends, relatives, cousins. For me, it was my couple of friends. For you, it might be somebody else. So just remember, words or taking a revenge are definitely too sweet to let go, but it's not the right way. The right way is to show results and to work on yourself. Every time you have something, look inward, not externally. When you look inward, you will find things in yourself which you can work on. And when you become a person better than you are today, you already give an answer to a lot of people. So today, the same kind of people are here to talk to me and ask me why I did what I did, how I did that. And I've helped them connect with a lot of people. I've helped them get into a better way and direct their self. And even today, if somebody asks me, I wouldn't say no because, man, you mocked me at that point. No, I will tell them, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm doing this and you might get some value out of it. So go ahead. So that's, I think, it's the biggest takeaway of my last 4 years, even though I don't have a lot of real ground experience into entrepreneurship or working for somebody. But this as a side hustle, as a tiny thing which I did on my side, it gave me a lot in terms of the human I am and the thoughts I have today. So yeah. And just quickly getting back to it, post that, when I started my BBA in 2017, a couple of years after that, I I coincidentally met some speakers, some entrepreneurs, some trainers, sales trainers and stuff. And because I was in my college and we had this speaker sessions, a lot of we have
Yeah.
you have this week where a lot of entrepreneurship programs happen.
Yeah.
So I happened to meet a lot of people, and basically it was a coincidence. And I was not intending to attend all of these things, but a friend of mine was like, "Chal kar lete hai." We have
Definitely, college mates, it's like just totally
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah,
You never
exactly.
go out of that key. We'll get something. It's just we'll avoid some classes or thoda time pass ho jayega, actually.
Correct. So
Yeah.
that's what happened with me in 2019 as well. The initial phase of 2019, and he was like,
Yeah.
let's attend these sessions, and just meeting those people and actually paying attention to what they said about sales, about building a business, about having something of their own. And I always back of the mind had that, oh, I may have my family business to look after, or I'll start
Definitely.
something of my own. But I always wanted to build something, even though I did not
Yeah.
realize that I always wanted to
Yeah.
go this entrepreneurship way. But when I met these people, I realized that, oh, I started fashion blogging only because I wanted to have something of my own, and I couldn't see
Exactly.
it back then. But now I see that I had the drive of not building a business as such at the age of 17, but I had
Yeah.
the drive of having something of my own, and
Yeah.
social media made it really easy for me, to be honest.
True.
So I again, after meeting these people, I stayed in touch with them, asked questions about my family business, about sales, about how to get better at sales and stuff. And I took
Yeah.
a course, and I did those courses. So this was this phase of 3-4 months where I consumed some really good knowledge, and I was lucky enough to meet the right kind of people. Not everyone is.
Yeah.
So in that way, I ended up into this conclusion where I saw myself talking to a lot of such entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And I saw that, okay, I've realized that this was my drive. I've realized that I talk to a lot of people. I realized that this gives me value after putting my questions out. So why not structure this a little? Why not start an interview based show where where I do the same thing which I'm doing on my social media, right? I
Yeah.
ask, if you are an entrepreneur, I ask you a question, and this I can structure it by documenting it through a camera.
Yeah.
And my conversation with him can be broadcasted, can be put out on YouTube, and a lot of people can watch it.
Definitely.
So that's
True.
what I structured it in a way, because I wanted to be a catalyst. I wanted to be a middleman. Again,
Yeah.
I did not want to put value out because I am an expert.
Giving
on
out that value.
I had that knowledge. I wanted to do that because I knew that there are a lot of other people who can add value to me, and if they can, then why not just broadcast this to a lot of other people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I do not have that reach. So I started social media, and my purpose of starting with social media was to be a catalyst and to document my journey, document my learning journey, document my journey of learning from the best people, document my journey of doing whatever I am doing in my career, in my professional life, from jumping onto one thing to another, to a different thing, and how I'm growing in my personal, in my professional,
Yeah.
and on social media. I wanted to
Yeah.
show people, give access to what I'm doing. And I managed a little. I have managed doing that because today I don't have a lot of reach on social, and I'm not on all social media platforms really nice in a proper manner. But I can say that I've developed a lot of relationships like I have with you
Yeah.
in depth, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've
definitely.
completely shifted my focus. The moment you shift your focus from two things, one is people's opinions, and it might sound very mainstream, but everything, 90% of the things which are stopping you from taking that first step on making content are indirectly or directly related to people's opinions. That category can be anybody, right?
Yeah.
Just that
Yeah.
fear of not being judged, or how people will take it, how people will see my post on Instagram, whether they will judge me, everything ends up there. And the other thing is the fear we have of not being at a place where everybody else is. So what we compare ourselves to influencers, to experts, to people who have got 1 million, 50,000, 2 million followers. So the moment you shift your focus to numbers, which is width, and you shift your focus from width to depth, like not 10 people like Ish, but one person like Ish in depth. That's when you create a perspective which is really at calm, at peace. And you will be like, oh, okay, I am getting to meet 5 people who are like-minded. I'm getting to have an equation with them which is in depth and talk about things which I'm interested in, which he or she is interested in. When you focus on that, on a few selected few people who might be interested in watching your content, even though there's just 100 people who don't watch it, when you shift your focus from width to depth, your game changes, and you will be very, very, very 10 times more free and more courageous to put out stuff.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. I kind of like elaborated a lot on this, but because
Yeah.
you asked me this question, I thought there's some different things I can add value on.
Yeah, definitely. So, like you said, like you reached out to a lot of brands, a lot of people, you did a lot of networking. So, was there at any point of time, like each one of us gets that thing, that hesitation? Should I go up to what will they think, or how should I put myself, or I don't have that amount of reach, or will they actually give attention to my thing? So, was that there, or how did you, if it was
So,
there, how did you deal with
so
that?
Ish, to be very honest, when I started doing that for brands, now what I do for interviews, for me, for instance, if I want some time with you,
Yeah.
I have to write to you, right? And
Yeah.
I picked this skill from the time when I did blogging. And
Okay.
I'm lucky, right? Because I started doing that unknowingly
Yeah.
back then. And now I knew that, oh, that got me results. And a lot of other people are doing it and now putting out on YouTube, or you can do this one,
Yeah.
strategy where you can DM people. I thought, oh man, I was doing that in 2016 without knowing that this is a good skill.
Yeah.
So I picked it up from 2016. But what I would say is that back then I was very immature. So I did not put a lot of thought into the fact that, oh, somebody will judge me or the brands will reply or not. All I was
Yeah.
focused on is getting the deal. So
Yeah.
back then I did not put a lot of thought, even though I should have, right? A lot of people think, "Arey, tu
Definitely,
dekh to sahi tune kya likha hai?" It should be quality. It
Yeah.
should be the
Yeah.
thing which you're asking for. And I did not to be very honest, I did not put a lot of thought back then.
Correct.
And I just did it through a trial and error method, and I saw results.
Yeah.
I've collaborated twice with a brand like Bewakoof back in 2016 with a couple of other similar brands as well, a jewelry brand, a few brands, when I got some results.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. So this time I again did the same thing for interviewing people to get some time. The only thing was quantity. The only thing I focused on was quantity. You spend 2 hours in a day. You can lie on your bed, right? You can literally sit down. You can lie on your bed, and you can do that for 2 hours in a day with this privilege you have, right?
Yeah.
And all I did was just prepare a message and send it out to 50, 60 people for interviews, and back then for brands. I back then I did not have a lot of thoughts regarding, oh, koi judge karega kya, koi reply karega. Kitne log ne reply nahi kiya. Even when I started doing this interview thing, a lot of people did not reply. Told me, oh, you have to have a certain number of subscriber base. I was like, okay, they are not entitled to my time.
True.
All of this while, one thing has helped me, and that's self-awareness, man. That's maturity, and that's knowing yourself and knowing the people around you. And the best skill I think if anybody can have is taking, stepping out from your shoes and putting yourself in somebody else's shoe. If you can do that, you can be so respectful, so happy, so much in a better place in terms of mentally, right? You will always understand why people do what they do. And it's not out of disrespect, it's not out of hatred, because you will be really surprised that every time something bad happens to them, we start quickly, we quickly get into the conclusion that they did not do it because he's a fucking successful person, or he doesn't have a lot of time, or he wants to just be disrespectful, or he's a famous person. We just quickly assume stuff. But the truth is, when you step out of your shoes and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, you'll realize that not everybody is doing something of their own, right? And not everybody's got the time. And for me, it was to understand the fact that no, not everyone is entitled to my time. I am a stranger who is a 20-year-old kid who's just starting out to do social media. They are somebody who's 35, 40, who's been successful for the last 5-10 years, who built 2 multiple businesses. How can you expect that he will give time to a stranger and ask him to come to his office? Right? If they don't reply, it's completely okay. You need to understand that you're not entitled to that success. You're not entitled to somebody's time, or you're not entitled to your dreams. If you think you are, then you need to work for that. That's what I've realized. And it's all in general, on an umbrella, it's self-awareness. It's knowing the world, it's knowing yourself. And I don't know how you get this skill. I just love being in a position where I'm more and more self-aware every single day. I think it's reading. I think it's having an eye for observation and some patience to sit down alone and internalize things. So I've always been somebody who doesn't talk. I don't talk a lot, so I don't have a bunch of people around me. I have 2-3 selected few friends, and I don't talk a lot. And one way this has helped me is I listen. After I listen, I think about it. I think about why people do what they do, the decisions they take, and why they said something, right? And this generally ends up in you having a skill of observing things around you in a more deeper manner. And I'm a person who loves just talking about deep stuff. So if you realize that, I'm someone
Definitely.
extremely inclined towards that because of the people I met, because I love observing, because I love listening, and I love reading stuff about this. So
Yeah.
when you put yourself a lot into that thing, and that needs time, that needs some internalization, you have developed this habit of observing stuff. And when you do, you put a lot of thought. So when I got the time of stopping, from the time when I stopped blogging to the time when I started this, I got a couple of years, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And all I did was, I thought of why people did not understand me. Or even though it was not a struggle for me, I'm just saying this right now, I'm just getting deep into that so that I can add value. It was not a struggle for me, but I was just understanding why people did that. And because I put a lot of thought into it, I came to this conclusion: oh, if I would have been in that place and I was somebody who did not have any vision in life, even I would have said some things about those people, right? I'm 16. I don't have that understanding. I don't have anybody to guide me spiritually or to make me understand, oh, you're doing something wrong or doing something right. So I'm really fine. Everybody's got that position. Everybody's got that viewpoint, and it's very different than yours. Right? Not everyone has the drive to work or to be productive or stuff like that. So you need to understand.
100%. 100%.
So yeah, self-awareness and observing, listening, spending some time not talking and internalizing stuff, thinking it through. And it's always about the drive. So I was, when you asked me the question about not being scared of the judgment or if somebody would reply or stuff, coming back to it, all in all, I would say is that when you got that crazy drive now, like when you got this mad passion to get this done, you don't realize that, oh, there are a lot of other things which you've not thought of. And this was one of those things. Like, I just wanted those brands to collaborate. Right now, I just want interviews. I want to learn from people. It is all. So when I just adding to it, I did this interview with Radhakrishnan Pillai, and he told me, we were talking about learning and finding people who can teach you. So I asked him, how do people find mentors? How do people find guidance? So he asked me, it's not about the external world. It's about developing a mentality where you genuinely, crazily, badly want to learn. And you will see that when you have that mentality, you will automatically come across pieces, sources, people, and things which can help you learn. And I've seen that in myself. So it's about having that internal drive or passion to get things done, or to reach that, or to start a blog, or to interview people, or to learn whatever your end goal may be. If you got that insane drive behind it, you won't give a damn about what other people think, and that's just a part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
If you do give a damn about it, if you do care a lot about those things, means that you're not really, really passionate about it, and that's okay.
Yeah. So it's quite kind of mystical that, yesterday I also saw your interview with Dr. Radhakrishnan, and there was a very interesting point, and like how you mentioned about drive and passion. So now, how do you really find your drive and your passion? Because I see a lot of people our age, they are really confused, or they are not really clear on what they want to do. Because most of the people, they are either doing things what their parents say or what the environment tells them, or people are chasing something external, like you said. It's being internal things you love. But people these days are just running the most basic thing being money. Wherever they find that this is a high paying job, or this is something where I'll have a security of where I can lead my life comfortably, they do that instead of really going down deep on what they want to do. So how do you find that thing, or how do you really tap into that desire? And sometimes, if you tap into that, how you really know that this is the thing that I want to do?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really interesting thing, and I don't know if I'm 100% the right person to answer it, but I would still add to what I've understood till now. And that is, you've really rightly said that 99% of the people of our age who just graduated, entering our 20s, or maybe post 18, they are, and I've seen that very recently, very lately, in myself and in other people as well. Three things usually happen. One is that you said, right, money. And if you think about it deeply, I read this book by Sir Aurobindo, and he had put down some paragraphs on education, on making ourselves learned, the association of education with money. So if you think about it, every single thing we've done till now in the last 15, 16 years of education, it is started with the fact that we have to earn, right? What kind of job, what kind of degree, what kind of college is going to give me this much amount of money? And until I read it, I really did not put a lot of thought into it. And that's when I realized, if you think about it, every single discussion we have at the initial phase of starting something in terms of education, it really is driven by money.
Definitely.
And to a very large extent, for us, it might not be a lot of it in terms of our parents telling us, oh, you have to earn this much, because we maybe are privileged than somebody else, or it definitely varies from people to people. But every single household today, especially in India, is driven by money, whatever you do in terms of education. And that's a very deep thing. So that's one. The second thing usually happens is you jump on from things. So I've done my 10th, you go do you 12th, which is obviously not, it's not possible to not do it, obviously. Then you go on for graduation, and then you, because everybody else is, because of peer pressure, because of you comparing yourself with your friends, you directly jump on from one thing to another. And one thing is really missing out in our generation, in us, is that we have not given ourselves time. We've not stopped listening to our parents. And I know that this is a very difficult thing to do for a lot of people, not listening to your parents, because you don't live in an environment like that. But you've not given yourself time to be at peace, to be patient, to explore a little, and to not do anything. Right? If you are an artist, I just read a tweet yesterday, which was, and the tweet was about, if you are out there to make money and to get a high paying job, you need to directly do an undergraduation and then a post graduation, and then just earn. If you're out there to learn culture, to learn philosophy, you got to travel, you got to give yourself time, you got to see out, and move around the world and see how people are. And even though it may sound very cliched or mainstream, but that's something I've seen in myself also. I can't create content until I live my life. Right? So I've read this, that you can't do your 9 to 5 if you don't do your 5 to 9.
True, definitely. 100%.
And this is, do you know anybody who's giving yourself a break, giving themselves a break out of this marathon of jumping from one thing to another? And I don't blame them. It's the environment. I don't blame them. But I'm saying that I've seen myself doing that. Getting into the temptation of moving from another place, quickly getting done with education because my friends are doing it. And there is nobody who's away from this race, right? Because there is nobody, you don't have an example. You don't have somebody to look up to and say, oh, he's doing something very different. Why not? And it's very difficult. Now, I don't blame anybody of our age, because on our age, all we want to do is right now have the intention of learning, gathering knowledge. Isse bhi सीखूंगा, वो भी करूंगा, तुरंत ये करूंगा, family को support करूंगा, पैसे कमाऊंगा, right? So it's really giving yourself time, being patient and exploring is completely not there. It's not there today. So these are the two things usually happen. And the solution to this is, which I have not even completely inculcated in my life, is that you got to be brave enough and courageous enough to be yourself. And it's easier said than done. It's really easier said than done. If I know a lot of people who are so much inclined towards fashion, towards helping people, towards different dreams. But if you ask them, okay, if you're inclined towards changing the way society is, why not start a social media page?
Definitely.
I don't know one person out of the 10 people I know in this area who've started doing that, who've been their own self. And being yourself is very mainstream. It's very cliched nowadays. But when you are on social, and I've realized this after in the last 1 year when I started doing social. For the first 8 months, I was not myself. Even after I started making content, I was not my original self, and I saw that gap in me. And I'm completely okay, because I'm going to progress. But the end point is that it's really difficult to be yourself, to go out there and talk to your parents that this is what my dream is and I want a year off. This is what I want to do for the next 2 months. This is the internship I'm looking at, even though it's not going to give me security or the money. Or this is social media, which I want to do, and I definitely know that this is just an investment and not going to give me money in back, right?
Correct.
Do you have the courage to stand out and give yourself time, or go after that internship, take that job if that's not the money you want right now? A
Hmm.
lot. I don't have it, right? I don't have it. So
Yeah.
being courageous enough to stand out, to do what you want to, and to be yourself, that's number one. And when it comes to your drive and your passion, I think it's just exploring, man. I don't even know if this is 100% what I'm passionate about, making content. I don't know if I can make a video every single day of my life, but right now what I know is that I'm interested in it, right? And
True.
one way to look at it is, practical way to look at it is, do you like the outcome or do you like the back end of it?
Hmm.
Right.
Definitely.
That's what I've realized. Do I like public speaking for the attention it gives me, for the limelight it gives me, or because I'm interested in the technicalities?
Yeah.
So right now I know that if you sit here and rate my speech with, oh, he used so many filler words, this was the wrong English, this was the wrong grammar, I'm not meant to do a career like that.
Correct.
I don't like public speaking for that. I like public speaking honestly for the attention it gives me, because I get to be on the camera, I get to be on the stage, I get to be in front of 30 people and talk. I love if people see me.
Yeah.
I realize that.
Yeah.
So I can't be a public speaker as such. Public speaking is a tool for me, is a medium for me to reach out to people, to reach out to 30 people, 20 people right now. Because I love giving value. So if I'm giving value on social media, why not use a stage as well, right? So that's public speaking for me.
True.
So do you like it for the outcome? And you gotta think. Radhakrishnan Pillai told me that you gotta take out a day, right? And it was very structured. It was a very planned way to find what you actually are extremely interested in. It might not be your passion even then. And passion is not something which you get in a couple of years, in a couple of months. For some, they know it at the age of 18. Ayushmann Khurrana knew it at the age of 18, 19 that he wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Not everybody is lucky enough to know that and also get money out of that. Not everyone is lucky enough. So if you ask me that, I get an opportunity to have a job where I interview people. There's nothing like it for me right now.
Correct.
And I would accept it in a way. But the fact of the matter is, it takes time to know what you are actually passionate about, and also get money out of that. And I think there's no point in rushing. Rush nahi karna hai. Kuch nahi hai ki passion nahi mila. It's completely fine, man.
Exactly.
You will come across so many things you are interested in, and doing that in the short term, in the now, will help you grow as a person, help you get that experience, and from one place to another, you will end up finding what you're passionate about. So it's not really important to rush and quickly decide, oh, this is my passion, oh, bus, I am done with my life, oh, this is what I want to do. Depends, man. It depends. So he told me that you got to make a you take a notepad, take a pen, and if you watch that interview, he told me to find out what you actually don't want to do. List down all the things as of now which you don't want to do. So you might end up narrowing it down and finally get what you're interested in. And even then, it might not be your passion. So that's how you can cancel out stuff as of now. But the end is that there's no rushing to it. There's no last few days that you have to decide.
Yeah.
It's just that please, if you can understand what the real meaning of being yourself is, you can change a lot of things. You can change, and it's okay to stand out, man. It's okay. Right now, I'll tell you something very, very honestly, which I haven't made a video about, which I want to, and it is that I'm privileged enough to fall back on a cushion, right? Which my parents have. I have a family business. Yeah. I don't have the responsibility कि घर चलाना है, कि पैसा लाना है. अभी मेरे पास नहीं है responsibility. So I'm privileged enough to not go out and desperately look out for a job, even though I've graduated. And I'm using this privilege to do social, right? To put in my time and energy to help people. So मैं वो कर रहा हूँ, and that is the true fact. That I don't have that responsibility, and I don't need to rush for that. And that's why I'm using it as a privilege to help people on social media and do take some time off. To be very honest, I don't have a job in hand right now, even though I want to go out there and work. And what I've thought about myself is, once all of this gets cooled, all of this is back to normal, I want to take some time off, use my dad's money, and go explore the world. Explore India, explore Mumbai. I don't know, just travel and see things. Yeah. That's what I've planned for myself. I don't have a single penny in my account, right? Even I want to go out there and make a name for myself and start earning, start getting the money. But I know that I have this privilege, and to be very honest, I don't really give a damn of not earning right now. I know I have that privilege, and yes, I'm what do you say? I'm direct enough to accept that I want to go out there using my dad's money and spend some money and see the world, see what people around me are doing, right? I think every experience like this helps you internalize stuff and be in a better position, and that's why I want to do it. So if you truly understand the meaning of being yourself, I think you will suddenly get a lot of things inside your head that, oh, मैंने ये सोचा था, दिमाग में रह गया, किया नहीं है.
True.
I think that's it.
You know, another point, like you were talking, everyone is thinking कि अभी, like you were focusing on the fact कि अभी जल्दी नहीं है, we have a lot of time. And again, this thing comes up is one thing I see in everyone today, even me, that we all want instant gratification. मैंने अभी करा, अभी हो जाए. In the next, you know, maybe a week, a day, a month, you know, if I'm putting it, people should see me. Or if I'm doing something X, Y, Z, I'm starting out a business. If I'm doing that, so I should get customers, like should work like ekdam se. Everyone, going back, how people are comparing things with those who have already made it and have been putting in the work. And also, the other day I was having a conversation with someone, and they were just telling me that how on social media, the attention span of us human beings has decreased. And rather than putting out long videos of maybe 30-40 minutes or an hour long, put out videos that are sub 5 minutes. I was like, but then what is the use? Again, there was one comedian as well. He was also saying that now people want to laugh instantly. They want motivation instantly. They don't want to wait for it. Like, मैं joke मारूं और अभी हंस जाऊं. You know, don't wait for that drop to come. But then, how do you think one should address this instant gratification? Because what happens is we either we all think of success so much. Again, quoting from Chichore, because I did watch it a few days back, obviously before what happened with Shan. But again, there was this line, we all are so obsessed with the success. We don't think कि failure होएगा तो हम क्या करेंगे, उसका कोई सोचता ही नहीं है. So how do you think we all should go about this instant gratification and just the limelight it has got?
So it all has to do with the things we use today, the platforms we are on, and social media has a big role to play in the fact that we are actually have got this really short span of attention. And even when I started making content on social, people told me, to be very honest, I started making videos of 12-14 minutes on Instagram, right? I was having this one goal, ki yaar video banana and put the right message and put it out on Instagram. I really don't give a damn about whether people will watch it or not, because that was what I had in mind when I started. I don't really care about the numbers. So people told me ki, as you rightly mentioned, people told me that people don't watch videos more than 1 minute 15 seconds. But I started cutting off things and trying to accustom my content in terms of the attention span. But instant gratification is because these platforms, the things you have on your phone, these companies who run these platforms, they don't have our best interests in mind. They want to keep you on these platforms as long as they can. As long as they can. And how are they going to do it? Feed you the stuff you're already extremely interested in. So if you open Instagram and open your Explore, what you will only find is the things you've previously interacted with, the content you've consumed with, the kind of sport you watch, the movies you're interested in, the people you previously watched content of, right? What do you see? It's all what you already know, what you're already interested in, what you already consumed, right? Why do they do it? Because it's an echo chamber. It's a loop which you will, every time you refresh, you only want to see what you wanted to see, what you wanted to believe. And they're going to keep feeding you those things because they want you to be on that platform as much as they can. And to break out of this is to always find people, books, articles which are against your beliefs, against your ideas, because the most amount of growth you can give yourself is go against what you actually believe in. Do you think if you believe that this is a bottle, and if it's not like that, do you think if you keep on believing this and keep on coming across videos and articles which will tell you that this is a bottle, you're going to grow? That's not how it works. So if you need to grow as a person, because you pointed out this point, and I am talking about this, that every time for your natural growth, you need to come across disconfirming evidence, the evidence which is against what your beliefs and ideas and opinions are. And we need to do this very urgently because we are getting deeper into this echo chamber.
Yeah.
It's a loop which you can't really get out of anymore.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
what it's actually impacting is your ability to empathize with people.
that's
So
what.
if you come across, if you tell me that, oh, this is what I think about social media, and I'm like, no man, this is not what I think.
Yeah.
I won't be able to be in a position where I'm even listening to what you are saying.
Yeah.
समझना तो दूर की बात है, मैं सुनूंगा भी नहीं just because you're not interested in what I think. That's what these platforms are doing. And yes, that all in all, this is what is creating instant gratification. And in general, in our blood, in our DNA, in the generation we have grown up, is the fact that we don't have patience. Whether it's getting that call, whether it's getting that job, whether it's getting success in your business, clients, sales, everything is wanted instantly by all of us. And the best way to practice something against that, everyone who's achieved success, when I started reading about entrepreneurship, I always saw this one skill: delayed gratification. Everywhere it was written, people who've achieved something, they bargain with the future. I've read this book by Jordan Peterson, and he says that you need to bargain with your future. The trade-off of sacrificing stuff, not doing stuff which you're extremely interested in, which are extremely tempting right now, so that you can work on yourself and get the things which you didn't or you could not do at this point eventually in your future. And this is easier said than done. Again, very tough, very tough, because you not only require patience, but you also require so many things to do right now and not do stuff. It's really impossible to let that go. So you need to bargain that way with your future. And remember that the best thing you can do for your environment, for the people around you, for your parents, for your teachers, for the people, everyone around you, in a circle, the best thing you can do for them, to give them good things, is to work on yourself. So if you can get up and make your bed, it's a lot of things. It's really a lot you can do for your own house, right?
Yeah.
Just to give you a very simple example. I don't know if I've given that in the right perspective.
No, that's actually true.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I read stuff, if I progress, if I grow as a person through my experience, through my network, I'm going to help so many other people around me. I think I talked to you about this in terms of Mahabharata as well, right? And this is what Krishna told Karna, that when everybody else told you that you are a Sarthi, you are a driver, you Rath chalate ho tum, aapne maan liya, and you accepted, and you always wanted to have external validation, external acceptance, external respect. Ye 5 jan mujhe respect nahi kar rahe, to main aisa hu, right? And Jabi, this happened when so many people in that locality told you the same thing. This is discriminated you, did not focus on your capability, just told you that you can't do stuff because you are a driver, you are a Sarthi's son, whatever. You accepted it, and moreover, you took it and you just stayed in your past. So what he was trying to say is that if at all that experience of seeing that discrimination, seeing what people told you, how people were biased, how people were so negative, how people put their hatred onto you, if that experience which you experienced, you first-handedly experienced that, if you would have leveraged this experience to help thousands of other people who are facing discrimination, you would have entirely changed your position, changed their lives, and changed your life as well.
Definitely. True.
If you've been going through something, instead of, again coming back to the first thing I said, instead of focusing on the 5 people who told you ye bola, wo bola, main aisa hu, getting insecure, focusing on your past, not focusing on the present, and accepting that and just doing the wrong things, you could have used that experience to know why they did what they did, and work on yourself and eventually help other people through that experience.
That again brings us back to empathy. It's very important how important empathy has become in today's age. I feel even in the last 2-3 days, how the social media has been going on around about Sushant Singh Rajput as well. I mean, everyone, I feel I may be a little too extreme in my opinion, but I feel people, again, like you said, it's our actions, not the results. people, those who never bothered about mental health, now they're coming out, talk to us, reach out to us, and but again, they are not able to empathize with the person. They are just, again, that instant gratification is coming into play, because now this thing is going around.
Exactly.
Maybe few people will see my story or something like that, and maybe someone will reach out to me, or someone will DM. They don't really mean that, and they don't really they just want to see the result. And I feel that's at times, how would you bring this importance of empathy and
That's
kindness?
where the world is going, right? That's where the world is going. That somebody's life has literally narrowed down to a subject. Can you believe that? Somebody's life has literally narrowed down to a subject. And I'm not disrespecting anybody by not putting out stuff on mental health or by putting out. It's good. It's good if you've got, finally, it's about your intention. If you've got the right intention to actually talk about mental health, it's fine. Again, and empathy and listening in general, they are so dangerous. And I mean it in a positive term. Positive meaning is that it's so dangerous. If I actually listen to you that carefully and whatever you said genuinely, without thinking of, again, why did they do all of these things on social? Because 80% of the people who did this are giving their own self-importance. Right. I want to capture into the leverage. I want to get views, or I want attention, or whatever it may be. It's really shallow. But that's, to be very honest, that's where the world is going. And empathy, listening is so dangerous that if I actually, I'm not even kidding. I've spent the last 3 nights of my, only deeply thinking about why I did it, because it's not getting out of my head. It's really not getting out of my head. And it just
gets to you, how, at what stage would he be like, that
why,
you cannot imagine, why
exactly.
And how. Exactly.
So it's really affecting me so much that I've spent like the last 2 hours in the night reading and thinking about that. And I'm not even kidding. It's really gotten to me. But the point I'm trying to make is that empathy and listening are so dangerous things to do, that when you actually genuinely listen to him, his story, what he has to say, and actually step out of your shoes and empathize with that person, you literally start seeing the world through their viewpoint. And this has happened with me, and it's so, and I genuinely can't do justice and put this into words, but what really, I'll try my best. So I've seen myself, listening to people, listening to my closed ones. And in the recent past, I've seen that when I genuinely listen, which is not always, we don't listen always, right? Every I genuinely listen to somebody speaking about their story or what they recently came across, their experience. And if I've listened to that carefully, genuinely, I really understand what they're trying to say. That's for that moment. But eventually, when I again talk to that person, I start looking at things they would have looked, right? So maybe if you are telling me that I came across somebody in the metro station and, this happened to me and he was just rude, and this is what got into me, right? This is what I felt is so wrong, right? This, if you would have told me that, for me, I think it wouldn't have mattered a lot. But when you told me genuinely the entire thing, and I could empathize with you, could listen to whatever you said genuinely with the intention to only listen and not just to advise, the next time I'm going to talk to Ish is really from his viewpoint, if something again happens like this, right? And I will genuinely be able to understand that, oh yeah, this is something which he's really sensitive to. And I think, again, if something like this happens, it makes sense that he got a little affected by that, even though I wouldn't have. 100%. And this thing, I don't know what it is, but this is so magical that this skill which you pick up from one person's conversation is going to help you in so many different things on aspects of life. When you fight, when you argue, and things like this as well, which will, it's really something I can't put into words, but we are going towards technology, and it's good that we are going towards that, but we are also moving away from empathy, man. Again, it comes down to social media platforms, instant gratification. And one thing I forgot to mention is that to practice delayed gratification, what I did is, so if I think I told you, I don't remember if I told you or not, but it's a funny thing I used to do.
I don't remember actually.
So when I used to come, so when I used to, when in my college days, when I used to come back, it was usually 2:30 in the afternoon. So I was really, really hungry, extremely hungry. I think there's a video lagish. Yeah, it's good now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was extremely hungry. So what I used to do is, and I did 3 or 4 different things for mental. All of this leads to mental workouts. So apart from working out physically, because that's number one thing to do. If you work out physically, it
100%.
really obviously you know it. It's
Yeah,
a lot of boost to your mental energy.
actually, yeah.
That's number one. Apart from that, what I used to do is, when I used to be hungry basically, and I had the plate in front of me, I took 5 more minutes, 7 more minutes to not eat.
Mm.
And I did that intentionally, and at a point where I'm extremely hungry, extremely hungry, where you can't just not eat now at that point. And this is usually when I come back from college as well. So when I used to come back and I'm extremely hungry and I was down, just near my building, what I used to do is I used to go out there, buy a few bananas, and give it to the people,
Who need
the beggars, the poor people.
Yeah.
And this basically, uh, I went a few minutes away from not eating. Right. First, I always had this that kabhi bhi मैं आऊंगा तो पहले उनको दूंगा, उससे 10 मिनट और हो जाएगी, right? And let them eat first and then I'll eat. So it's at a point where you want this so bad and you put yourself away from it. So that's what I did when I used to extremely, in summer when I used to sit in a place in my room where it's extremely hot. It's extremely hot. You can't sit for 5 or 10 more minutes for when in that weather. I used to not switch on the AC again.
Yeah.
And this kind of gave me the mental workout, brain workout to stay away from the thing which tempted the most.
Yeah, definitely.
It's about, it comes to masturbation, no fapping as well.
Yeah.
And that's also a thing you can practice. So all of this is basically working out mentally and going away from instant gratification. This is delayed gratification. When you do this in the short term, small things, you practice it, and then eventually when you got to take that huge responsibility in life and do that compromise, it'll be easier for you.
Definitely. So are you actually practicing something in today's scenario, like with the lockdown, or that you were earlier practicing or you are not able to, for really working on your mental aspect or really working on your inner thoughts? Because a lot of times we see are, rather than yes, agreed, we have that external pressure, but that internal pressure, that call it overthinking or just going on around about something, whether it will happen or not, again thinking about the future, not staying in the present moment. So is there anything specific you do, like you mentioned about fitness or maybe meditation, anything like you do on a regular basis?
So in this lockdown, in the last 3 months, this lockdown has really not been productive for me, to be very honest. I couldn't, and I'm at this point where I'm not able to get sleep. I'm not able to do things which I otherwise was doing very perfectly for my productivity, for my body. I'm just literally, and obviously, I'm not saying that I don't have things to do, but what I'm trying to say is that, until and unless I live my life, when I go out, meet people and do stuff, I won't be able to come back and do those productive things, right? I need that balance. So I need to do that. So I wasn't able to do a lot of things. I thought of reading, I thought of working out regularly, but ये सब छूट गया, honestly. ये सब छूट गया. The workouts I did through, I had the gym open. The reading was really frequent before the lockdown. I thought I will read. I'm not able to read. And even though I have ample amount of time, I'm not able to be very honest. The only thing which I'm doing, that to 3 or 4 days a week, is meditation. So I am meditating. I started with 8 to 10 minutes. Now I'm at a point where I can do 20 to 25 minutes.
Amazing.
And I changed a few techniques. First, I did it with a chant. I used to listen to Sadhguru's chant. That was really good. It was helping me out. And now I came across a technique where you literally have to do nothing. So there is no external help. There is nothing. You don't let your mind restrict. You don't restrict it. You don't limit it. You don't refrain it from going anywhere else. जहाँ जाना होगा, जो thoughts आनी होगी, आएगी. But what you do is nothing. You sit and you do nothing. Thoughts will come. They won't come. Your mind will go from one place to another. It's okay. That's what I'm doing right now, meditation. And apart from that, there was one more thing. Apart from that, I'm thinking a lot. I'm really thinking a lot. So I haven't again I have not been able to utilize my time to even make content enough where I could have made 4 videos a day. पर नहीं हो रहा है. To be very honest, I'm thinking a lot. I'm utilizing my time to think. I'm not maintaining a journal. I should have, but I'm thinking of so many different things, and I'm using Twitter a little more because I've unfollowed a lot of people. I'm following very selected few people, and this has really opened up my mind to a lot of different perspectives about the things I'm interested in. The things I did not think in this way, I've now started doing that.
Actually, it does help being very selective with your circle again, be it social media or in real life. I feel
exactly.
Yeah, because I see people, obviously out of respect and obligation, people say if that person has followed me, I'll follow them back. But I feel obviously that's right. But at the same time, I feel we also, I guess, need to be very, aware of the energy drainers as well. Sometimes we see other people, and obviously, like we all know, social media is not what it is. A lot of people are not their true self, like you said, not even me and you. And we are trying to reach, close that gap. But it's very important to understand those people who are those energy drainers, or really selecting your content, what you consume. Because again, the social media will only feed on what you actually just, keep on consuming. So, Dharam, I have 2 core questions left for you now. The first one is actually, so since you started your blogging and then you transition to the social media aspect with the videos and the interviews, what are the top 3 things that you've learned from all the people that you've come across and you networked? And these are those 3 things that when someone asks you, you are like, this is what it all boils down to. Like, these are the 3 core things drive me, or these are the 3 learnings in my life that I would like to tell.
Sure. So from my journey, as well as from the people I've met till now through interviews, these are definitely not mine only, but I've inculcated a few of them from people, and otherwise learned from my actions, what I did in the last few years. So they usually fall into these 2 or 3 categories. The first one is, it all starts with being uncomfortable, right? So as long as you're okay with where you are, as long as you are fine with what you're doing, as long as you are okay with the marks you're getting, with the success you have, with the money you have, with the things you're seeing around yourself, as long as you're okay with that, and that's completely okay. That's what I respect. I'm not against it. But as long as you're okay with where you are never going to solve a problem. You are never going to be able to help people. You're never going to be able to grow yourself, and you'll never be able to make a difference in general. And for me, everything with what I did, with the blog I had and with the interviews I did, everything started with this drive, with this feeling of being uncomfortable. I was not okay, to be very honest, with the people who made content around me. First, I started blogging because I saw people achieving success, doing good, and making money, achieving a reputation with that. Right? Even though it was a fascination, even though I had the eyes on the wrong stuff, but still I would say that it started with being uncomfortable. And this, when I started with interviewing people, I had this genuine learning mentality. I was like, I don't really give a damn about the number of followers I have. I'm going to reach out to people because I wanted to make a difference in people like me, other people like me in their lives. And I had of discomfort, and I saw, and before that I saw that people, why is it that thousands of people like us spend 8 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours a day scrolling on Instagram and watching people's contents where they are the creators, and there are people like us, they're sharing their story. Why can't I do that? I was not comfortable with that fact. I wanted to have that on my own, by my own self. I wanted to tell my story, and I also wanted to achieve a lot of things. And apart from that, I wanted to give out value. So I did not rush at that point where I was like, oh, okay, ye bhi kar raha hai, mujhe content banana hai, because even I want the money or the reputation or stuff like that. I took some time. Even then, I did not rush, and I saw that, oh, okay, I don't want to rush into this and do anything recklessly, right? That's when I thought, okay, what can I do in a structured way to still help people? I am 21 and nobody's listening to me. No, why will people listen to a 21-year-old sharing gyan? I don't want to do anything of that sort, and I don't want to be inauthentic. I don't want to be fake. I will still want to help people. How do I do that? That's when I interviewed people. That's when I structured it, and that's when I used a few words. Even today in my captions in my videos, you'll see I speak in a different manner, right? Again, I share my knowledge. I like to do that, but not a lot. I don't do it excessively because I don't want to give out gyan. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to share my experiences through my interviews, through the journey I'm documenting again. But I still it's always about the people. It's never about me. It's not coming from me. I'm just being a middleman. So that's all of this started from being uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable with looking at the people around you facing a problem. That's when entrepreneurship also starts, right? That's when you build a business or a product which helps people. So that's number one. I've learned that. Second is that passion is really enough. Your drive is really enough. So a lot of people want to start out with being unique, with standing out, with having a different app, a different unique idea, a one-of-a-kind business, a one-of-a-kind category of creating content. How do I stand out when there are so many other people doing the same thing? A lot of people focus on that, and they still feel that that's the most important thing. Having a unique set of solution for that problem, or having a unique kind of content. But I really believe that passion and your insane drive, your crazy drive, which I previously mentioned, is really enough to get you from one place to another.
Correct.
And again, it may be in a half-sad manner, it may be in an imperfect manner, but I'm not trying to say it won't happen. You will fail, you will fall down a lot of times, do trial and error, again get up. But when do you actually, if you think about it, when is somebody actually able to face issues, face obstacles, fall and still get up? It's always only and only when they've got this insane drive of achieving something. It can be it can be, the goal can be anything, making money or helping two people. It can be anything. The size doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is that kuch bhi aayega na, and it might be a little motivational, and I might be sounding a little motivational, but I really think this is very practical. Kuch bhi aayega na, you will always see the thing you are going to get after facing or jumping on from that obstacle or that hurdle. You will always have your eyes on the vision you got, and your on the thing which you do through your passion, what you are actually passionate about. You won't give up. So for me, it might be helping people. How am I going to help people? Doing interviews. Okay. Now again, the biggest problem which it actually comes with is nervousness, is stage fright, is facing people, is facing strangers, and I'm extremely scared of that. But I have my eyes on helping people, so I will practice, put myself in those most dangerous, most nervous situations, and still do it because my eyes are on that. That's number one, right? Passion is actually enough, and this advice is really practical. You might really feel this is overdone. You always have heard a lot of 100 other people talk about, oh, you have to be passionate. I know that you know it. All of us do actually know it, but it's practical to always have your eyes on your passion. And when you got that, skills will automatically come. You will fail, you will stand up again, you will learn stuff, and you will actually come across different things and still overcome that because you've got that insane drive. Again, having said this, it still doesn't mean that you don't look internally and see what you're good at, right? Just giving a one different perspective is that when I knew that I'm really passionate about helping people, I could have started with a podcast. I could have started with written content. I could have started with anything else. I could have started with a blog. But I knew that I think people like my face. I think I can speak in a confident manner out of practice, out of preparation. And if I speak nicely in English, I think that's where my upside is. That's where I'm really good at. I can be good at. And I saw this thing in me, and then I leveraged that. I'm still leveraging that. I've not achieved anything. But what I'm trying to say is that don't blindly do it. Right? You need to know what you're good at and focus on that. Just don't care about anything else. You definitely won't be able to be good at audio, written, anything, everything, 5 different other things which other people have. So one is being uncomfortable. Second is passion is really enough. This is a practical advice. And still, having said that, you have to focus on what you're good at and leverage that. And it's okay. It's completely okay to previously have done things which you're not good at. One thing leads to another, and you eventually end up doing the right thing. But for that, you need to do 5 different things. And the third one is that getting somewhere, progressing, or success, you may call it, is really imperfect. So if you think this is point A and this is point B and you're going to straight get to here, it's not like that. And if you think that till a few initial days, months, years, you're not going to have success, and then you'll eventually have success, it doesn't work out like that. You know, there are a lot of things which are so imperfect, which will tell you that, am I even doing this right? I make a video, and when I see 8 views on that video after a week, it really hurts me. And the next time I make a video, I really feel, am I doing the right thing? Are actually people watching it? Or do I have the right content? What am I even doing?
Yeah.
When I meet people, my palms are, literally sweating. When I, it's intimidating to meet people who achieve so much success, right?
Yeah.
I do interviews, and it's really, really, really scary. So what I'm trying to say is that you will have so many different moments where all of us, and nobody's achieved success as of yet, but all of us will have so many different moments which will be imperfect and which will tell us that you're not doing the right thing. But we need to understand that this is a period of time, a phase, a few months, a year, which nature will test us for.
Yeah.
Right? It's just nature testing the person whether you can do it or whether you're fit for it. I read this really amazing thing which basically justifies this, is that what you want to achieve is deliberately placed out of your zone, out of your reach, so that you can become the person which is deserving, who is deserving for that, right?
True.
There's a reason why things are so far-fetched. Your dreams are so rare, so difficult to achieve, because the universe, the higher power, the nature really wants you to go from one place to another and become the person who is deserving. If you tell me that today I'm going to achieve 1 million followers at this very point, I am not at all deserving, because I don't really have that work ethic to be responsible enough to make that content for that 1 million people.
True.
I am not the person who can do that right now.
True.
So if it's taking time, if it's taking months, years to do that one thing in a very imperfect, in a very half-assed way, understand that you require time to be that person as an individual,
100%.
and somebody else is making you do that for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, yeah, totally. It's about how you build yourself in that process. And that is actually the most amazing part when you look back, like what I had done and where I was. And then when you see where you are.
Just think about it. Why do people have journeys?
Yeah.
Right? Why did Mukesh Ambani have this journey of so many long years, and the legacy is built, right? It's because the higher power wanted him to become a person which he was and what he is today. That's why we talk about him, right? So It's kind of very logical, kind of very easy to understand that if you're not getting things and you think you should have gotten those things in this period of time, in these months, in those years, it's really because you're not really deserving to be that person who gets so many things.
Yeah.
Right?
True. And absolutely, you're correct. That's why dreams are far-fetched, and we also need to dream big. Like, have those dreams that are unreachable, because only then we actually are moving towards to really work towards that and become that person. So fantastic. And the one last final question I am going to ask you is, what is this hustle to you? How do you define that hustle? Is it a process? Is it something you love? How would you just put it out for people?
So firstly, again, I haven't hustled really.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through that grind. I haven't worked for anybody else. I haven't built anything of mine, even though I've got this social media, which I would like to call it as a venture, but it's still not. And the fact is, for me, this definition keeps on changing. So when I first started, it was something which was in the limelight. Oh, hustle is becoming cool. Right.
Yeah.
Working is becoming cool. Oh, I hustle for these many hours.
Yeah.
But these things, the idea behind working, behind grinding, behind hustling has really changed in the last 1 year. And we really think we really underestimate time. Okay. And I say this because how much I've changed in the last 1 year only is completely unbelievable for me. So what I'm trying to say is that our ideas, our changes, our opinions, our beliefs, our perspectives about things, they very much change every single year, every 6 months. But to do that, to get that change, you got to put yourself out there and take action. हर बार आप action लोगे, you'll come across so many different things, and your belief about yourself, about the world will change. So what I'm trying to say is that this is exactly what happened with me in the last 1 year. I started off with considering hustle as cool. Oh, I'm grinding. My friends are not grinding. I'm grinding. Oh, really nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It now eventually it's for me it's really, and even though I'm just 21, it's really, for me it's really happiness. And
Yeah.
you might have heard about this from Gary, from so many other people,
Mm.
but it really is. And this obviously comes out from the person I am. So if you ask me, eventually at this point I want to spend 16-18 hours of my day working. I don't think I want to do that,
Yeah. Yeah.
to be honest. I want to be doing that. And I really don't think as of now I have that work ethic. It may develop and I might be so passionate about what I'm building that it can take out that time. But I still, very deep down, I know that I'm a person who loves being around my family members, being around my closed ones. I don't meet my friends a lot, but for me that balance is really important to do the work I am doing as of now. And अभी तक मेरा आइडिया ये है कि right now in the next few months or a couple of years I have the time to still chill. And I want to utilize that time to chill, because I know that once I get into something, I won't really get this time. Even if I got the resources, I won't really get this energy, this time, and this freedom in the back of my mind to enjoy stuff. So right now, in the very short term, if you ask, for me, it's about spending my time with what I want to do, doing social media, my friends, just chilling. And that's in the short term. And eventually, right now, my idea about hustle is, you got to be happy. For you, that happiness might be for working 16 hours. For me, that happiness comes from not working so much, getting things done, and being around the people I want to be around. Because I don't want to, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line, I don't want to look back on these years and say that, oh, I had the time, I had the freedom, I had the people around me, but I did not do it just because I wanted to hustle. And I realized this while I was doing so much of content, when I was talking to my sister about this. And she told me this one thing, that you are, and I actually was in this mode in the first 6 months where I just wanted to work, make content.
Actually, I get it. Yeah.
And she told me that you're doing really good and you are building yourself, but you really need to slow down a little. Because I think, and I, to be very honest, I was very strict with my own self on spending my dad's money. So doing the nightlife my friends do, chilling and stuff, I basically matured too quick. And for that, I always looked down on things my friends were doing, in terms of, oh, okay, they are chilling, I don't want to chill, I don't want to spend my dad's money. And what I didn't realize is that while I'm doing good stuff, I'm also missing out on the time and the freedom. And she told me that, believe it or not, even 3 years down the line, where when you'll be paid really highly, when you'll have the resources you want to, but you won't have the freedom and that, in the back of your mind, and that time and the energy you have today when you're 20. So it's okay to slow down, it's okay to chill, it's okay to not know what you want to do, and just utilize the time to do what's right for the age, right? Everything comes at a certain age because it's meant to be like that. And I was rushing a little. So for me, hustle at the end is doing what the age actually is meant to do. You've got to do certain things at certain age because it's meant to be like that. And it's mainly about being happy with your idea of happiness,
Basically enjoying the present moment.
Yeah. Your idea of happiness might be really different from mine, but as long as you're doing that, that's what is hustle. That's what defines, right, what you, and we don't know what our life's purpose or life's meaning is as of now, but we eventually will. So at that point, we'll have to take this decision where we actually want to work this hard and compromise on so many things. And I think there's one more interesting thing which I would like to say right now, is that with whatever has happened in the last 4 months, the things which were cool are now not cool. So the things which had this status association with that, which is money, lifestyle, vacationing, going out, enjoying nightlife, concerts, so many different things, all of this are not going to be really cool because of this consumer behavior shift or the human behavior shift. Correct. What is going to be cool is taking a leave from your office and spending your time with your family. Being in the moment, right? So I think that's a behavior shift which we all are going to see. And now what we are going to do is stay in, do more of what we like, be a little more creative, be a little more of
yeah.
ourselves, because that's exactly what has happened in this lockdown. The things people were not able to do in those years because they were afraid or they did not have the time.
Yeah.
They did now because they took out this creative side. They were more of yourself. They more of their selves. They stayed in. They spent their time with their families, and they realized that all of this is not that important as they thought it was. So yeah, that's what hustle is for me.
Wow, amazing, fantastic. So that's right. Everyone was really, moving really fast towards something. We just have to do this, do that, and not. That's very important to slow down. And again, coming back to this point, being self-aware and that importance of slowing down, because right now as well there's this campaign going on around the social media that if you're not doing anything this quarantine or lockdown, you're missing out. No, it's okay. It's totally normal for us. For someone, it's actually, like you said, realizing that you need to slow down a bit and really focus on the things you have right now. Otherwise, we will. It's funny with us humans. Now when we go into the future, which will be our present, then we will be thinking कि मैंने अभी उस time पे ये क्यों नहीं करा, and now we're thinking कि अभी आगे क्या करूँगा. So इससे अच्छा like what I have right now. Do that.
Yeah. Correct. So before you end this, I'll just like to mention two things. One thing which we previously discussed is that, people of our age who just graduated 20s, they're jumping on from one thing to another. And with this lockdown, they also might have got the time because the job market is, really bad. And now they've got this time to actually look at what they want to do. So it's a positive thing which has happened.
Definitely.
And I think respecting that you do not want to do those courses or things is actually self-love as well, right?
So
It's all about respecting what you feel like you want to do, and if that can be doing a course, be working out, or just chilling, right? Whatever I did in these 3 months, I did not do anything, but I knew that I have to respect myself because I don't want to do that. So that's number one. And again, this is not relevant, but because I'm doing this, and I'll just take this opportunity to put this word out, is that I've been spending a lot of time thinking about taking advice on, and following people on social media, and whether from basically the personal growth, the personal development industry. And there are people who are really genuine and help out, with a lot of different things in life. But I just want to put this word out that, all of us have got our parents, our grandparents built some really good stuff, in their life. Some might be from business backgrounds, some might be from different backgrounds, but they've really built some stuff for their own selves, for ourselves. And what I want to say is that they did not have anybody to help them out, right? They did not have mentors. They did not have any suggestions or guidance or advices to follow. Whatever they did was through trial and error, through what they thought is right, through their intention, through their gut, and through failing continuously. So, a course, if you think a course, a blueprint, or somebody's advice is going to really change the time you're going to start working harder, it will definitely change your thoughts. And it's good if you're listening to somebody who's genuine and you're lucky enough to do that. But if you think that today, if you do that course, or if you listen to somebody and from the next day you're going to start working and everything is going to change, I don't think that works out like that. And I've realized that all of these people really leverage our intention and our hunger to learn, right? There will be a lot of people on social media who you think are genuinely giving out value, and they are giving out value and knowledge through their content. But I really want to say that they really leverage the people's hunger. And people, by people I mean people from 18 to 21. They are really, really hungry, and they can give into the temptation of knowing everything. Ye bhi seekhna hai, wo bhi seekhna hai, and this is a good intention. But a lot of people on social media leverage that. And I'm not saying that they don't give you content, they don't give you value. They do definitely give out knowledge. But at the end, realize that your parents, your grandparents did stuff on their own. Okay. And today we've got technology. So I'm not saying don't use it. Use it. You want to read an article on a topic, just Google it, and you can literally break it down. You can do it for hours and hours. And that's the most that's the best thing about technology. If we are, these
100%.
two people are doing a conversation like this, and if 30 people can hear it, it's leverage, it's technology. So what I'm trying to say is that use technology, but always, and listen to people, but always जो तुमको सही लगे वही करो. Do the thing which you feel is right.
Absolutely, 100%.
Be a little aware of the people who are listening to, and you might in the very start, and it just happened with me a number of times, you might at the start really feel, oh, this is genuine value and I am missing out on this knowledge. But trust me, even if you get that knowledge, आप काम तभी करना चालू करोगे जब you are meant to be like that, right?
Yeah, true 100%.
Just have some faith on time and
Patience.
yes.
Just practicing that, persevering through the time, not again, instant gratification is something, delayed gratification we need to work on, and really being self-aware, like you said. So it's, being self-aware, getting uncomfortable with yourself, all, actually this is all what it is all about. And these are the tough things. It's easier said than done. So it's again reiterating ourselves, going back, talking to ourselves and asking ourselves those questions, because I see one, just quickly ending on this note, I see our generation has become like, with the instant gratification and everything around, we don't go deep into things in which we really need to. We are doing everything with a very superficial level. Upar se dekh rahe hain. If Virat Kohli has this cars or this apartment or this thing, or if Sushant Singh Rajput had so and so things, log keh rahe hain, usko kya problem thi? See, that's not about it. He may be going through something, but the point is, you have to go deep. Again, I was actually listening to one of his speeches. I am sure that you must have also heard it, but he was saying money and I guess recognition are things that they promise, but that is not happiness. It's about, again, being self-aware of what you really, what really drives your passion, how, and that journey is beautiful rather than the destination. Again, focusing on the journey rather than the destination. So that is all, I guess, all about it. So it was
getting deep into things can give you not even knowledge, skills, but also enlightenment in terms of your purpose, your why, right? And you can quickly judge stuff, but if you go deep into that, just what I was talking about initially, you can realize so many different things. It's an experience
Definitely.
altogether.
Definitely.
Right.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dharam, for joining us. And it was fantastic. I hope all the viewers have got fantastic insight. In fact, me as well, talking to Dharam, it's never, whenever I talk to Dharam, it's always I take back something. I've taken back a lot of things, and I hope you all must have. And so, Dharam, how can we support you? Like, obviously, I'll be putting down your Instagram handle, your YouTube channel links in the description. And I request all of you to follow Dharam. He is an amazing person, and I'm sure that you will get a lot of insights to all his content. So it's there. It is Dharam Vora for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ish, for doing this. For you might say it's inviting me, but it's not that kind of a thing. I'm so thank you so much for saying whatever you did, as saying those kind things, and you've always been a support, and it's good to have somebody who's doing something similar. So I really look forward to what you do, because it's always good to share stuff on what you do. So that's number one. And second is, you can definitely go through the journey I'm documenting on my social media, but more importantly, guys, I really don't, I'm not really behind the numbers, but if at all you've resonated with whatever I've said in the last few minutes, an hour or so, I really would really genuinely love to talk to you in person on a call. You can message me, because if there is anything you are really interested in, or if there's anything you connected to, or you thought it's interesting or a little rare, I would genuinely love to talk to you, have a chat, because I just love talking to people and going deep into stuff. So if you resonated with anybody and anything what I've said, please reach out to me through, you can take my, if you somebody who's close to it, you can take my number, you can reach out to me on social. I would love to have a video call, chat, anything, a call in person. It's just an amazing thing which we can do. and yeah, reach out to me. That's I would love to have a conversation, and this was just a conversation. This was conversation between two friends. It wasn't like I'm giving out your value or knowledge as an expert. So yeah, I really love doing this, Ish. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you so much. And that was Dharam Vora for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bounce, 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 you know we bounce, bounce.